Welcome to the second stop of the Alabama Bass Trail 100 Weiss Lake. This is your pre-recorded pre-tournament meeting for the second stop of the Alabama Bass Trail 100. John Simpson, your tournament director, here along with myself, Kay Donaldson. It's been a long time since we had the first stop of the Alabama Bass Trail 100. Way back on Logan Martin. I know some of you will be glad to not remember that event. It was very cold, but something tells me Weiss Lake is going to be drastically different, John. I don't think we'll see 14 degrees. But
No.
thank goodness, but by the end of the day, we may hope that we will. I do want to remind you, this is pre-recorded. We are recording on Friday prior to the tournament. Should something drastically happen with water levels or different things, we will notify you via email and text message on that. But we are trying to get these meetings recorded. I am out of town on Monday and it is a holiday. So we are trying to pre-record this so that you have the information as promised on Monday. You should have already received your email, your who, what, when, and where email for the second stop here at Weiss Lake, Leesburg Landing. I do want to give a huge shout out to the great people at the Cherokee County Chamber of Commerce, Miss Joy Perry, as well as the rest of her staff, the volunteers, always Mr. Brandy Pierce, the mayor there at Leesburg, for being such a big help with running the golf carts and aligning up all the other things that we need there while we are at Leesburg Landing. So it's a phenomenal facility. It should handle 100 boats with no problem. We do tend to keep the first 25 to 30 spots open for the first flight. Just so that we can easily maneuver those guys in and out. And once they weigh in, if they would like to leave, that does open up more parking for some of you guys in the later flights. So John will go through all of that when we get to the slides. There are a couple things that I want to mention before we get to the actual logistics of this tournament. I do want to remind you of our winners from Logan Martin. It shouldn't be too hard. Andrew Loberg, Jeb Lamb, they took home well over $33,000 for their win on Logan Martin, $25,000 from the Alabama Bass Trail, $8,000 first flight money from Phoenix, as well as some of the other prizes and contingency money. So they are currently leading your Angler of the Year points, but and I know they hope that changes after this stop, but I just wanted to remind you of that since it has been so long ago. I also want to remind you that the 2025 Alabama Bass Trail 100 schedule has been announced. It was announced the first week of March. Those dates are January the 18th at Lake Gunnersville. That will be going out of Scottsboro, out of Goose Pond. Then on June the 7th, we'll be at Lake Eufaula at Lake Point State Park there in Eufaula. And then the last tournament of the year, November the 1st, it will be at Wilson Lake. We'll be going out of the waterfront marina area there. There will be some logistics to that tournament as far as who will be parking where. We will be doing a majority of that, similar to how we did it on Wadowee, but we'll get into that later on in the season. The important thing about that is if you are fishing and watching this pre-tournament meeting, then you are registered to fish the Alabama Bass Trail 100 this year. You do get priority registration from June the 1st through June the 10th. You can register for the 2025 season if you are fishing with the partner that you are currently fishing with. If you are making a change and it does fit one of the guidelines that allows you to change partners for the 2025 season, then you can do that. But otherwise, you would be required to sign up on the 11th if you are not fishing with the same partner. Again, that is a $3,000 entry fee. $1,500 is your deposit. It is a non-refundable deposit, and you will have until December the 1st to pay your balance. And that would be December the 1st, 2024 to pay your balance. Again, registration opens June the 1st. Some of you will be somewhere on June the 1st. I think you'll be on Weiss Lake, but conveniently, you do have 10 days to do your registration. So I just wanted to remind you of that. Weiss Lake is a multi-time host to the Alabama Bass Trail. It's the first time it has hosted a 100. It has hosted the Alabama Bass Trail Championship. It has hosted our 225 boat tournament. It is a phenomenal facility, and we're excited to be back there. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing our screen so that John can get into the meeting with you. If you have any questions, please make sure that you post those in the comments of this video, and we'll be monitoring those even though we are pre-recording this. We will monitor those comments. We'll try to answer any of your questions. But as always, John and I do have our phones on us, and you're just welcome to give us a call at any time or send us a message or an email. So John, I'm going to go ahead and get started with that and let you go ahead.
All right. Again, welcome to Alabama Bass Trail 100 on Weiss Lake. For the cameras and trackers for this event, this will be your contact, Mr. Kenny Kernow. His number is 704-770-8600. He is with anglerschannel.com. If you want a camera, we have already pre-assigned some of the cameras, but if you are on fish and would like to have a camera, please text Mr. Kenny. Send him your boat number. Tell him you would like to have a camera, and he will reach back out to you and let you know whether or not you'll be getting one. We will install those cameras at boat check on Saturday morning. And if you are coming by water, we will have those cameras waiting for you down there at that boat check location as well. Boat check for this event, we're going to start at 3:30 a.m. Since this is only a 100 boat tournament, that'll give us 2 hours to get you guys in the water and ready for blast off. Boats checking in by water will come to the dock with the red flashing lights. I'll show you where that location will be whenever we get into the logistic slides. Safety first. Anytime the big motor is running, you must be wearing a Coast Guard rated PFD. Even during the official practice days, which for this event will be Thursday and Friday, PFDs will be required if you run up below any dam or around any powerhouse, anything like that. You will be required to have those PFDs on while you're fishing. Please follow all posted water control signs and buoys. If you do receive a ticket during one of these events, that will result in a DQ. Blast off for this event will be 5:30 a.m. First flight will be due in at 2:30 p.m. and this is a trailered weigh-in. We're limited dock space at this facility, so you will be allowed to put your boat on the trailer before you weigh your fish. When you arrive at boat check on Saturday morning, the team member in the vehicle's driver's seat needs to have that text message displayed on their phone. You will present that to Daniel or Brody at boat check, and they will give you your key fob for the event. The vehicle's driver will be given that key fob at boat check, and it will have your boat number on the underside of that fob. Do not lose your key fob. You will return that key fob at weigh-in, and you must have it to weigh your fish. They will not take your key fob up when you're checking in on the water. Just whenever you bring it to the bump sink, and that's where that key fob will be taken. And again, you must have it to weigh your fish. Off limits and no weight for this event. Off limits will be 50 yards from the end of the long dock at the ramp and 50 yards below the ramp. Everything in front of the ramp and the docks will be included in that off limits area. We will also observe and enforce a no wake zone 100 yards above the floating docks on the west side of the lake and 100 yards below the ramp. So all that area will be we will observe. Keeps us from getting boats damaged. It keeps it safe while people are trying to put their boats on the trailer or waiting for their trailer to be put in. There's kind of a narrow channel there, so no wake in that area around the ramp. 100 yards above the floating docks, and then 100 yards from the lower end of the ramp, like on the powerhouse lake side of the ramp. That will all be no wake.
I want to just reiterate that we are out there watching, not necessarily watching for that, but we are setting up. If you are turned in for that, you will be disqualified. This is the week after Memorial Day. We expect that the boat ramp will be busy with us only having 100 boats at this event. They will be people putting their pontoon boats, their jet skis and things like that in there. And we do not need bass boats running through there at 60, 65 miles an hour. So please make sure that 100 yards above those docks to 100 yards below the ramp that you are observing a no wake zone there.
Fish size limits for this event: largemouth and spotted bass will both be 12 inches, and that is on a flat board, like a golden rule style board, or like if you have a Phoenix boat, it has a flat board in it. That's what we will use at the bump sink, is a Phoenix board to measure all the fish. This slide is just an overhead of Leesburg Landing. It shows the parking lot. When you come in from Highway 411 on Riverside Street, you'll come down, you'll take a left into the back side of the parking lot, and you'll just drive around the perimeter of the parking lot. Boat check will be right there. There'll be a light stand there, and we'll be right before you get to the little turn to the right that you take to go down to the boat ramp. Once you get to the ramp, we will have a gentleman there directing traffic, telling you what lane to go to. We'll have the boat lane coned off into lanes. And then my gentleman down there will be directing you which lane to go and when to back down. When you come out of the ramp, there's a little chute that's off to the left. It's got rocks on both sides, so be careful when you're pulling through that little chute into the parking lot. Once you get into the parking lot, we will have personnel in there directing traffic, telling you where to park. Again, as Kay mentioned, boats 1 through 25, we will have an area designated for those boats. We'll keep you guys as close to the ramp as we can, so whenever you get in the afternoon, you can have your boats out of the water and weigh your fish as quickly as possible. The staging area for this event will be under on the other side of the 411 bridge. So when you put your boat in the water, you'll go out under the bridge and you'll stage just on the other side, right in front of decks and docks. Again, blast off, we will be in a pontoon boat, and blast off will be at 5:30 unless we have some cloud cover and pushes us later. It should be light enough at 5:30 to go. Again, once during blast off, please idle by the blast off boat. When we call your number, just idle by. Do not get up on pad. Do not have your foot in the throttle, throwing a big wake. Idle by. Once you get past the boat, you can take off. If you're going back towards Powerhouse, you'll come by us, you'll circle around and idle through the boats before you put it on pad and go down the chute back towards Powerhouse Lake. Again, if you're running back to Powerhouse Lake, be conscious of that no wake zone that will be enforced during, once we start putting boats in the water, that will be considered no wake. So once you run down to that, you'll take the boat off plane, you'll idle through that zone, and then go on down into Powerhouse Lake. This just shows another overview of the ramp site. If you'll see on the kind of the north end of that floating dock, that's where water check-in will be in the morning. That will also be where water check-in and afternoon check-in will be located. We will have flashing lights both morning and afternoon. When you come in the afternoon, you'll just come by there, tell them your boat number. They'll get you checked in on time. Again, here is the off limits: 50 yards from the end of the long dock, 50 yards past the bottom of the ramp. That'll all be off limits. Weigh-in bags for this event: when you pull your boat out of the water, we will have a bag stand down at the close to the ramp. So whenever you pull your boat out of the water, you will be able to get a bag down there in the parking lot. They will have golf carts running to run you up the hill to the stage. So just whenever you pull your boat out of the water, grab you a bag, put your fish in our Crush City bags, and then take you a golf cart should be there to take you up to the stage and the weigh-in site. Again, this is my name, John Simpson. This is my phone number here, 256-309-9852. In case of an emergency on the water, call 911 first, get those first responders on the way if they are needed. Then when it's safe to do so, you can call me or Daniel Montgomery. Daniel Montgomery's number is 256-284-9889. After weigh-in starts, both Daniel and myself will be on stage at 2:30. At that time, you will need to call Kay. Kay's number is 256-303-7905. Is that correct, Kay?
That is.
All right. And that like I say, after 2:30, Daniel and I will be on stage. You will need to call her if you have an emergency. If you're coming by water to this event, I will need to receive a text or an email by 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. An example of what I will need is just your boat number, which you will receive on Thursday afternoon by text. I'll need, say, boat number 1 coming by water. If you need to email me that information, my email is jon@alabamabasstrail.org. Again, guys, I will need that information by 5 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Couple other just housekeeping things. There are no alternates for this event. This is, since there's only 3 events in the 100, we do not allow you guys to use alternates. This is a dangerous lake to run, so please be safe during anytime you're on the water, during practice, during the tournament. Make sure you have your life vests on. Make sure you're, if you don't know where you are, please stay between the buoys. Once you get above the causeway in center, that area is extremely dangerous with log jams. So please be careful during this event. Again, if you have any questions or need any information for this event, I will be available throughout the week. You can contact me on my phone. I will have it on, during business hours. So do not hesitate to call or text if you do need some information, or shoot me an email. We've already had some guys send us some emails about some, needing some information about the tournament. Either one of those is fair game. Just feel free to contact me, like I say, via phone or text or email.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop our share right there. I do want to reiterate a couple things John mentioned. I know a lot of you have seen through social media that there have been quite a few boat wrecks that have happened in fishing tournaments over the past 6 months. Please just be mindful of that. I do want to also remind you that your PFDs should be worn anytime the big motor is on. We did have someone that was complained on this year in one of our South event tournaments. If they chose to disqualify you and they do have a photo of you or a video with your motor on without your PFD, you or your partner sitting in your seat, if your jacket is not on, your life vest is not on, that is a disqualification. Please make sure you are wearing those in practice, in official practice, Thursday, Friday, and in the tournament, from the time you put your boat in the water to the time your boat is taken out of tournament waters. You are responsible for adhering to those rules. Couple other things I wanted to remind you of. Scales will open 1 hour prior to official weigh-in time, so we will be able to weigh fish at 1:30. That is, we will bump them beginning at 1:30. If you choose to bring them to the scales early and our tanks are filled with water, then that's okay, but we will not bump your fish until the 1:30 time frame. We cannot offer you any assistance there, so just reminding you that we will start bumping fish at 1:30. If you need to bring your fish in early due to if they're struggling or whatever. Also want to remind you the last flight is due in at 3:15. That means that the scales are set to close at 3:45. Any protest would need to be filed within 15 minutes of the scales closing, and that would be at 4 o'clock. All protests must be in written form, either with John or myself, and you must have someone witness it. So John has protest forms. I have protest forms. So that would be the time that you would have to file a protest if you should do so. If you walk away from the tournament and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you're upset about something and want to call myself or John, you need to realize that even though we may take what you say under advisement, we may reach out to that person. You cannot file a protest after the 4 o'clock time frame. If you choose to go away from that tournament, we will listen to what you have to say, but there's really not a whole lot we can do if you choose not to file a protest, whether it be a life jacket violation or anything like that. So please make sure that you're aware of that. One other thing that I did make note of. First flight is due in at 2:30, last flight due in at 3:15. 25 boats in each flight, 4 flights of 25. The teams that will receive trackers and cameras will be notified by Thursday afternoon that they have been pre-assigned a camera and a tracker. I do want to remind you that altering, cutting off, tampering with those devices is a means of disqualification from this event and potentially from the Alabama Bass Trail. So just a reminder there. We've been using these trackers for 2 years now. We've had no issues with them. The 2 that we have, we've removed. So please make sure that you do not tamper with or leave in the parking lot in your truck one of our devices. We will have golf carts running you to and from. It is quite a distance from where your truck will be parked as to where we are weighing in. Please use the golf carts to make sure, with it being as hot as it is, make sure that we get those fish in our tanks and in our release and recovery tanks as soon as possible. You will notice if you only fish the 100s and you haven't been at one of our other events, we do have brand new fish care equipment. We spent a great deal of money, $92,000 for new fish care equipment. So we're very serious about that, and we certainly want to be mindful of that at Weiss Lake. So again, 2025 registration opens on Saturday, June the 1st. You have 10 days to priority register. You will receive a text message this week with your team ID and PIN number on it that you will need to use to register for the 2025 season to use your priority registration. So be looking for that probably Tuesday. So we'll get that sent out to you again. That'll be your Alabama Bass Trail 100 team ID and PIN number that you'll need to register for the 2025 season. John, do you have anything else that we need to talk about before we let these kind folks go?
Nope. I think we pretty much covered everything.
Awesome. Guys, we look forward to the second stop of the Alabama Bass Trail 100 on Weiss Lake in beautiful Cherokee County. We look forward to seeing you there. Our team is excited. We hope you are too. Over $100,000 will be given away and valuable points moving on to that Angler of the Year belt. Pretty cool belts. So we'll see you at Weiss Lake next Saturday, if not before. Y'all have a blessed day.